Today I've got a fun project to share with you. I have two different ways that we're going to be adding colour to our cards. Hello and welcome back to another Take Two with Therese at Altenew, and I have really easy projects to share with you today. And I saw this colour combination recently and just fell in love with it, so I thought I'd share with you how you can incorporate colour combinations into different projects. So I've got the coffee break and the seashore sets of cardstock. Now I know that my card front, it's an A2 finish size, so I know that it's 5.5 inches. So what I decided to do was cut one of these pieces at 1.5 inches and the remaining 4 colours at 1 inch. That way I know that it's going to fit vertically on my card front. So I'm going to start by making a striped background. And these are such pretty colours together. I've got a piece of Nina 80-pound cardstock and I'm adding some of the A4 double-sided adhesive to the front of this. And then I can just line my colours up and attach them down. So the way that I wanted these colours to flow was to start with the sand dunes colour first, and then I was going to work through the seashore colours, starting from the lightest and going to the darkest. This is a really pretty set of inks, and the gradient cardstock is no different. Now I did actually leave the release paper in situ just to make my life a bit easier. You don't need to do that. One thing you do need to make sure, because we're going to be stamping on this, is that the edges of the cardstock are even and they're butted up against each other. So I simply just flip my card panel over and got a nice long pair of sharp scissors, and I could just cut away the excess. And obviously if any other edges were overlapping, you could cut those away as well. So I'm using a sticky mat here in my Misty, and I can just line up my card panel because the stamp I'm going to be using today is called the Magnolia Ballerina. It is beautiful, but it's huge. So I do need to make sure that this is going to stamp exactly where I want it to. And because it's such a big stamp, I didn't want to take the chance of it shifting when I was stamping. So by using that adhesive sheet in the Misty, then I can re-stamp if I need to, and I did need to, and nothing shifted. I was so happy. Now I did think about doing this with some embossing powder and maybe white, but I went for the safe option and actually just stamped it out with some Obsidian black ink. I really love this little bouquet. Well, I say little, it's not little, it's big. But it's such a beautiful set of flowers. So like I said, I stamped it twice, and then to get it off the mat without curling my cardstock, I just flipped my mat over and actually pulled the mat away from the cardstock, but forgot that there was paper sheet underneath. But that's okay, it pulled away easily too. I'm still getting used to these sticky mats, but the more I use them, the more I like them. Alright, so I just used my glue tape to attach it to the front of a side fold A2 card, and I used a simple sentiment today that I'd already had made. If I make a sentiment and I don't use it on a project, I just pop it inside the packet. And this is from a set called Inky Bouquet, and it has gorgeous sentiments in it. And I just die cut it with a little circle die and pop that up on the front of the card. And that's it for this card. It's a really clean and simple design. You could come in and colour it as well if you wanted to add a bit of depth to those petals on the flower, but I just wanted to keep it nice and simple. So the second way, I'm going to add the same colours. Now this time I am going to use the ink colours, so except I hadn't cleaned my mat. I'm not having my best stamping day today, but that's okay. I always work on pieces of cardstock that are bigger than I need. So I just went back, cleaned my mat and started again. So I'm literally using the same combinations of colours. So I started with the sand dune, headed to the lighter colour of the seashore which is Mountain Mist, and just worked my way down until I got to the Emerald, which is just a beautiful colour green. And I do come back and forth to mix my blended colours, and I'm not getting too worried here at my blending because I've got lots to do on this panel yet, and I know that the colour's going to even out just that little bit more as it dries. So I'm going to use the Magnolia Ballerina yet again, but this time I'm using the 3D embossing folder. The sandwich for this in my Big Shot, this is the one that works really well for me, is tab 2 with the cardstock in the 3D folder and then just one plate on top. You don't feel a lot of pressure as you're rolling it through, so if you are feeling pressure, you might need to check your sandwich. And these colours just make me happy, and that 3D Magnolia Ballerina even happier. Okay, so I wanted to add more to this card. This is almost getting a mixed media for me. I've got one of the detailed blending brushes, and this is one of the pigment inks. It's the Enchanted Gold. It's so pretty. And I've put that on the center of the flowers with the brush, but then I'm coming in with a white pigment ink. I did consider using the gold on the petals, but I wanted them to be like a real sort of a real soft sort of background look. So I thought I'd give the white ink a try. If it didn't work out, I can always start again. But I think it worked out really pretty and just a little bit different for me. So basically I just painted these petals on the Magnolia Ballerina 3D embossing folder with the white pigment ink. And it just helped them to stand out that little bit more. And one thing to be aware of with pigment ink is it is slow drying, so do try not to get it on your fingers because you can easily transfer it to sections of your project and have a creative moment there. Okay, so I wanted to add more. Like I said, this is real mixed media for me. I've got some of the metallic ink sprays. This is the Antique Gold, and then I'm also decided to come in with the pure white just to bring those two colors together over the background. Now I know that this does take a little bit of drying time, so I did set it aside to dry while I worked on my sentiment, which is the Thinking of You word die. It's a lovely big sentiment, but really pretty font and easy to sort of make a real statement on your card. I laid it up 4 times, just using my glue pen, because that just gives me time to move the die cuts around so I have them lined up perfectly before they set. That just, I find it easier than their double-sided adhesive sheets sometimes. I use the liquid glue to adhere it to the front of the card because I know that that's got the pigment ink on there as well as the dimension from the 3D embossing folder, so the liquid glue's got a nice strong hold. And I did add a few of the satin white sequins as well. Now I hope you're inspired to look at a colour combo and maybe try something a little bit different. Inks on one, cardstocks on another, their paints on one, inks on another. You could do so much with this fun technique, and that Magnolia Ballerina just makes me happy. I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. Till next time, bye.
Hello there! Did that video just spark your creativity? And do you want more project ideas and inspiration videos too? Well, if you do, please make sure that you subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel. Also, make sure that you do click that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye!